Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to the Three Guys Media. With me here today is Colin Setho. He's one of our new producers. Today we want to discuss about the 2023 election and have a recap of what happened. Maybe also a profile solution on what could have been done to make things better. So we'll talk about the role of INEC. We'll also discuss the voting pattern of the electorate. We'll also talk about if people's votes actually count. And like I said, we'll maybe give some suggestions on what could be done to make things better. So I open the floor by saying that one of the like Nigeria claimed to be a democracy, and one of the bedrock of democracy is voting, like a free and fair election. Because if you have a situation whereby when people vote, when people cast their vote, it doesn't really count, then you there's no need for that democracy. If the people are not the ones selecting their leaders, then there's no point for democracy. And what happened in 2023 election was, because I did some research, and then I have to maybe make the conclusion that INEC did not deliver on the promise of a free and fair election. But before I go into that, I will also allow Collins to maybe do his own introduction, and then we can move forward.
Okay, so like you already mentioned, my name is Collins
Yeah.
too. And it's nice to be here. It's actually nice to be here. I can't wait to just dive into the conversation.
Okay. Yeah. So the because there are so many things surrounding the 2023 election. So I'll try as much as possible to stick only to facts. And
Yeah.
one of the basic facts of the 2023 election is that INEC was given, like, I think 300 and over 300 billion naira to conduct that election. And then when the election started, one of the few things we started seeing is there were violence in some places. I will maybe note that there wasn't that much violence as compared to the previous elections we've been having. So, like, because it's like the election became smarter, so people had to think of smarter ways to do things. So there
Yeah.
were yeah, so there were maybe violence in some areas, but not widespread. And then because the implication of that violence is that that's one of the things that makes Nigeria election not to be free and fair, in the sense that the people already have this mindset that there's this mindset that comes out during election. I don't know whether you saw that growing up. Your parents would be like, during election, everybody will have to be careful because they will say maybe it's time to kidnap people. There people might be shooting gun anyhow, trying to steal ballot boxes. So if you are going to the polls, if you are going to your ward to vote, they will tell you need to be careful. Everybody will just need to be careful if they want to vote. So if people already have that mindset, it means that there is going to be, the implication is a low turnout of voters. And there was low turnout of voters in 2023. From what I saw, they said over 83 million people registered to vote, and
Yes.
out of that 83 million people, 25%, it was 25%
Yeah.
turnout, I think, or 27% turnout. So that's really low. And the turnout has been coming down from 1999. Since 1999, it has always been coming down. So imagine a situation where I had 25% of Nigeria is estimated to be over 200 million, right? And then, okay, 93 people voted, which is less than half of the population. And then not even half of those people that voted, 93
Register.
people registered to vote. Not even half of those people that registered to vote came out to vote. So it means that only a few people maybe believes that their votes will be heard. And then there was also the aspect of the delay, logistics delay. So INEC didn't come on time in some areas. So when that sort of thing happens, people that came early to vote, they will be discouraged as well. To maybe them, some of them might like later go back and be like, "There's no need to do this," and then some people didn't even get the voting materials. They were saying that the the car that was supposed to carry it is delayed in so places, and then there's also the aspect of rigging, but like when this, I need to be very careful here so that people will not say that I'm not stating facts. So I'm just going to use one case. So I went to RF, and then you see that some of the pictures that were uploaded on RF, some of them were blurred. You understand? And then you can't even see, you can't, so I'm wondering how they counted it. So you can't even like make out the number of people that voted for a certain party. Some of the, I also saw one that was they already wrote, like, let's say Labour Party got this, and then they cancelled it and then put another figure there. So now, how can you trust that? Wait, how can you cancel a figure? Like, what happened? Are you trying to tell me that you counted it the initial time and then you were like, oh, we made a mistake, oh, let's count it again, and then you canceled it? How can you make that mistake? Usually when they're in the ward, if they vote, they will say everyone agrees that this is what PDP got, this is what APC got, this is what they will say yes. They just write it. Everyone has agreed. You write it, then the other party sign. And then in that rigging, to show more evidence, so what happened? BBC. I'm going to share my screen. So BBC carried out an investigation, but this investigation they carried out, they did it only in one state, which was, they did it only in Rivers State. So what they saw in Rivers State was that okay, I'm not sharing my screen now, am I? No. Let me share my screen and show this report. So this was only in one state. Now they didn't do, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they said what they found out was that some of Obi's figures was like, so this is what Obi got I think in certain areas in like a local government, like he got like over 200,000. Tinubu was maybe above 100 and something thousand, and then this is now what was actually the voter for Bola Tinubu was 6 times larger than the in the officially announced result compared with the BBC's polling station count. P2B's vote had been cut in half. So, like, now they also said there was also something outstanding in the research that they found out. They said that the man that announced the result, I think is this man, they call this man, the person that announced the result, Dr. Dixon Ariaga. So this Dr. Dixon Ariaga said that he works in Federal College of Education in Omoku. BBC went to that Federal College of Education and found out that there is no such record of such person working there. This was the person that was announcing the result for INEC. Now, they tried to reach out to this guy through the social media. They did everything. So when the guy wasn't responding, they now tried to reach out to family and friends. Some of them agreed to respond, but later they declined to respond again. Now they called INEC and told INEC, see what we found out. INEC was like, yeah, maybe look at, referring to Dr. Raga, he said if he had presented himself as a lecturer from the college in Omuku and it's otherwise, then he's dishonest. This the resident electoral commission in Rivers, and then when they spoke to the main INEC, they were like, there is an ongoing investigation, they can't comment on it. So the person that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So the person that announced the result in River State wasn't actually like the identity. He is not the person he claimed to be. This is just one. You understand? This is just one, and then you can't imagine what went on in so many other states. Let me not say everything anyway.
Yeah. So, well, everything you've said actually spot on because I am not speaking hypothetically. I'm speaking because I was part of INEC ad hoc staff 2015. Before then I had not really thought about election. I just finished from university, so I wasn't really I didn't even know why I should vote. I had my PVC, but
Yeah,
I wasn't participating until 2015. So 2015, I was finishing service, so I registered to participate in the election. So and then I was posted to somewhere in Abuja where I saw what happened. I saw firsthand
yeah,
the irregularities. I wasn't told. I saw it. I sat in it. I had conversations like, what's happening? Why are we changing the results? I had this conversation. I wasn't, so
yeah,
it's the case of, I was seeing this thing for the first time I ever thought about, I ever took part in an election. And I was marveled. But then again, everything was new. When you get into something and that's the first thing you meet, you begin to think like it's the normal thing. And
yeah,
so, yeah, I, um, I started to understand, I started to read, I started to try to understand, the nuances around Nigerian
yeah.
election. And then we last year's election was you know we should have thought that by now we'll start getting certain things right,
Yeah,
especially with the innovations INEC kept promising that would make the process to be seamless and all those things. I was in my during election day I went to about 6 7 polling units because I kept moving around trying to see how things were being done, and you could see who people wanted to vote for in the election in Abuja, Kubwa, where
yeah,
I voted, and we were up until 2 a.m. In fact, I won't not even mention what the PDP agents, in fact, at the time, the PDP councillor in my ward was moving around begging us, because somebody we know was begging us to kindly give his candidate at least small vote so he would see something, at least so they would pay him that he did his work. But everybody there knew who they were voting for. And we were up until 2 a.m. making sure that our votes counted. Some things later happened, but then again, largely, we should make sure that no single person left that place without documenting and uploading. But it doesn't have to be so, because one of the one of the thoughts of INEC is that it is able to be trustworthy. It is able to give us
yeah,
that room for trust. So
yeah.
we can vote and go home and not
And the
think that
vote
somebody will
count.
mess up the process. You get? We don't
Yeah,
have to stay there because everybody have things they do with their life. You can't, I can't call you as an engineer for my house and give you the money, give you everything you need to work, and I'll stay with you every single second to make sure that you don't do a wrong thing in my house. It doesn't make it
and
takes the
even
job
going
from
as
you.
far as helping, going
You
as
get help.
it's not your
Thank you.
work.
So it takes the work from you to me, I have given you the mandate to do something, but I'm still helping you do it. It makes, sorry to use the word, it makes nonsense of the idea behind the INEC itself.
It
That
does.
citizens have to be the one to now police INEC to do their work the right way, because you are not sure that if you allow them, they will do what they are supposed to do. So that in itself is is very funny. It's not supposed to be so. Because if you go through the mandate of INEC, if you go through the constitution, if you want to try and understand what INEC is about, you will see that one of the first ideas, one of the first thought of INEC is that they are able to organize, supervise. So whether it is this man you spoke about now, that they don't even know where the man came from, they didn't ascertain, or they didn't even verify his place of work. Imagine. So these are the things that actually begin to put a question mark on the process, because you cannot have certain indices, some certain indicators that says that something will go
Yeah.
wrong here, and you would have faith in it, because it cannot work. Because at the end of the day, whether INEC comes and says we will, in people's mind they are saying, uh-uh,
It's just the
mm-mm.
same old
It's just the same old
BS.
story. Nothing
Yeah.
changes. Um, After all, yesterday I was listening to one man say INEC officials are carrying members of political parties. Like, you definitely, we've seen appointments that have been made over the years as INEC resident officers in different states. These are people. At one point, there's a little woman they call this very popular APC woman that was given that was made INEC rec. And I remember the
I know
outcry
who you
from
are talking
everybody. I
about.
can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Was it Onozi, Onoche or something?
Um,
I remember the
on
outcry that
Noche.
went about. Yeah.
Yeah, something like.
So how will you appoint a card carrying member to sit on that kind of position, knowing fully well that she obviously cannot go against her party? So we need to,
Exactly.
like the cry has always been, we need to unbundle INEC. If in my class, in my political economy class, one of the things our lecturers always say is that we need to unbundle INEC, because at the end of the day, that is the first point of getting
Yeah.
election, a democracy right. We just witnessed a US election. 155 million people voted.
In a country of
That is
300 million or something. Or
that
350
is
million.
that is over that is more than 5 times the number of people that voted in Nigeria.
And
Almost eight
that's
times the
like
number of people that voted in Nigeria.
almost 50% of their population. That was the
You
turnout.
get, and you can imagine the size of America. You can imagine that Nigeria is not even half of that country, but yet they could get things right. Everybody knew what to do, when to do, how to do. Nigeria
Yeah.
is not even as big as America. So
Yeah.
these are the issues, and the trust deficit is always going to be a problem. So far as that exists, people will never, and people will still not trust that if they go, and a lot of people, is just a time wastage
Yeah.
process. Or people go there
Even
to just
though
go and meet
even though they
friends.
declare that they declare it a public
So
holiday, but
it
people will
doesn't
still be
matter. People
like,
play ball that day.
yeah,
You know the good thing about my own voting in the last election. I had friends who had moved out of our area 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But
yeah,
because of the registered to vote in my area, they all came back. It was a very full place. You could meet old friends, gist with them. They would stay till for a whole day, come to our house and eat food and drink water. It was cool. Trust me, that's like one of the biggest thing I enjoyed in that election. Not even the voting.
yeah. So like you know, there were different things that happened. People, there was even this guy. There was this advisor that I think Tinubu sacked the other day. I forgotten that is he and something. Anyway, he was saying after the election he was
Okay.
like that everybody
Ngelale,
rigged.
Ajiri,
Yeah,
Ajiri
Gila,
Ngelale.
that everybody rigged. And then people were like, yes, everybody rigged. They just say about who rigged, who was the smartest rigger. He's now a knob. And, like, there was also the cases of, they would say they say the IRF, there were so many traffic. Imagine you have over 300 billion budget, and you're saying the traffic on the site is that made inside put the site down. And I said, oh, that people tried to hack the opposition party, which was Labour Party, but they tried to hack the site. They said they caught some people that they said they tried to. Police went and arrested some people. They said that they will be supporters that they tried to hack INEC site. They now found out that those guys were actually working for INEC. They were employed for INEC by INEC to maintain the site. So like the whole thing was crazy. Now, if we are moving on to like next thing I wanted to talk about is the voting pattern, how people voted. Uh, I don't know. Do you want to open the floor on this?
Mm, yeah. So this is actually a very important thing because for somebody who has studied electioneering and the the way people vote in Nigeria, trust me, it's a lot of um, um, trust that goes into voting pattern. But let me even make it clear. Let me make it let me interest you. Um, why a lot of people like us think that INEC were not being very forthcoming with the issues on grounds that unlike other people, I know people voted more on this election, last election, sorry. I know because I had done my own little research. I did some asking around. I did some little things. People voted more in this election, but from what I now gather, it was easier, or it is easy to manipulate a lesser number of electorate than when they actually very plenty. Now let me shock you. INEC had said that over 20 million people or something collected PVCs, new PVCs.
Yeah.
I mean, these are not people who had voted before. These are people who never ever voted. These are people who were registering for the first time. People who turned 18 from 2019 election. So it means that we were supposed to have new entrants. If
Into the
about
electorate.
20 million people voted, let's say 10 million people voted from the 20 million who picked up their PVC. But then it didn't reflect the people that voted.
I think it was a
Now,
18 million total
people,
vote. I mean, how many?
yeah, if you calculate the 3, 6, 7, around 18 million or thereabout, or 20 something million.
Hmm.
Yeah, 20 something million. Now, this is not even far from what Buhari and Jonathan shared, or what Buhari and Atiku shared in 2019. So it means that something happened. Now, the wave of the youthful population in Nigeria wanted to vote, wanted to change something. So
Yeah.
I know the campaign, I know the canvassing that went into asking people to get their PVC. It was a chain of 2 years or 3 years canvassing, go get your PVC. It was everywhere. So
So you
how is it that
expect, yeah,
people
yeah.
normally we would expect about 30 million people to have voted this election of 35, if we are being very honest with ourselves. So people turned out to vote. Let's leave out places that had pockets of, insecurity and all those things in the corner. There are places whose votes were fluent on Twitter. For example, Plateau State was recording 1 point something million when they were counting votes. All of a sudden, when the result got into INEC, it went down to about 200, 700 or something. I can't remember the numbers. Abuja, we saw the mass people that voted in Abuja. Result came out. It was so every single place that a certain candidate looked like he had votes or won, the
Yeah.
numbers were actually reduced. So normally we might be drawn to say people voted along religion and then
Tribe.
tribal lines, which we cannot, um, begin to take away. But the truth is that a good amount of the youth voted because somebody told them that he had their interest at heart, that he wanted to work for them, that he's out for the youth. So the youth were supposed to be the deciding factor in this election. It became the deciding factor in this election because, for example, take state like Lagos, take state like Port Harcourt, take state like Abuja, take state like Plateau. These are states where the youthful population is actually very high. So definitely look at the numbers in those states. Look at people who voted. Look at who they voted for. They all voted for a particular candidate. So it was supposed to be that, and they knew it. I had a friend. When you brought the fact about River State, I laughed because I had a very good APC friend, one
Yeah.
of the big APC youth guys. He told me that before election, Peter Obi was going to scatter things. They knew. In
Of
fact, they
course.
have
Of
started
course.
going to they have started going to meet Labour Party big wigs in River State. But those guys were telling them that, Omo, it is not in our hands. So there are people called obedience. They are not part of us. We can't control them. If it was left for us, we would have done it for you guys to win. But these guys are not part of us. He told me before election that guy, Peter Obi wasn't part of the arrangement they wanted to. So his coming was scattered a whole lot of things. In fact, they didn't even believe that he would make that kind of numbers. So the voting, let's leave out tribal because to me, I like to look at who you think would have done better. If the Igbos felt like Peter Obi was the best candidate for them and they voted for him, good. Yorubas who voted for Tinubu felt he was the best, good. Hausas who voted for Atiku felt he was best for them, good. I don't even want to go into because I don't care. If you vote along tribal lines, it's not a problem. You have your reasons. But the youth were supposed to be a deciding factor in this election. And that is where I would want to go through with the voting pattern. The age. Just remember when Buhari came to power first, our parents kept saying they had seen his
Yes.
regime
Yes.
before. Yes. He was a disciplinarian. So
Yeah.
they were the ones who made some of us vote for. I didn't vote for Buhari, but a lot of the youth who voted for Buhari voted because of what our parents kept saying. He would fight corruption. He's a no nonsense person, disciplinarian. That swayed a lot of votes. They couldn't do
Yeah.
that with Tinubu because they have no moral
Tinubu
standing to
had
come and tell
no
us again.
substance now. The only
You get.
like I mean I did look at the result the last election and and I get the anger. You know when people say like that people voted on tribal lines, they always look at East. They always look at Igbo people. I mean, Tito
Yeah.
B, it was a landslide for him there. But what people, because when you look at the result, I was checking. Yeah, Obi was like, I think the least vote he got in that region was like 70%. So it was
He
like
must.
70 to 95%. That was his threshold.
Yeah.
And then you go to Southwest, uh, you see the vote was almost, it wasn't like evenly divided between Atiku and Tinubu, but
Tinubu.
Tinubu was getting like maybe 65. The highest that he got was 70% in Southwest. And then you go to the North, you see that Atiku was performing well. So everybody performed well in their region. So somebody can
In
say
their zone. Yeah.
in their zone, yeah, somebody can say it's a tribal team. But then one thing, if you look, there are so many things I want to factor into the voting pattern. One of the things I want to factor in is that when I want to factor in many things is that you can't use one factor to explain the different voting pattern. For instance, if you want to
True.
use tribe to explain it, you still be like that. If you want to use tribe to explain it, then how come somebody like Atiku got a good number of votes in a state like Oshun? You understand? And then when you now look at why he got a vote in Oshun, you see that Oshun has a PDP state governor. You understand?
Yeah.
You will not be like, okay, why did Atiku perform well in Akwa Ibom? He said that Akwa Ibom had a PDP state governor. You
People
understand? So
still
you
go.
see that structures as well factor into how people vote as well.
Voted,
Then,
yeah.
yeah, and then you when you go to the north, it's not only about tribe in that north, in the sense that there is also the factor of popularity. Atiku is very popular in the north. You understand? So even though PDP didn't have like they lost so many of their states to APC, there was still this overwhelming support for Atiku in the north.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't just like rig that one out anyway. And then when you now come to why you will not use a tribe to judge. I mean, some people might have voted for B in East because of tribe, but if you look, you see that and Southeast has always been they had this relationship with PDP. So they were always voting for PDP.
Yeah.
You understand? But then in this election, when they saw that all the parties were this, they just thought somebody that was different, which was OB. They just want all in. This like it even the governors couldn't even do any like my mom, see what happened. Let me give you like a typical example. My mom wanted to vote and was like, I hope you are voting for Obi. She told me, yeah, that they are voting for Obi, but that in Senate that are voting for the our because the governor of Enugu State was from my village, so they said they are voting for him who was in PDP, but in for every other thing they are voting for Labour Party. So, so this is another thing that I also want to bring in this another factor that also want, the electorate are not educated. Like she doesn't even know the main reason why she's going for B. You understand? And even though my state governor lost the senatorial seat of PDP, he lost it to Labour Party, but a lot of people there, they don't even know. Like, why would somebody just told them there is already this thing going on in the village that, yes, we are going for bill, but let us also support our own. Do you understand? So everybody just
Yes.
had this in their mindset. So because I was discussing it was the last discussion I had with somebody. I was telling the person that think when people want to blame people like say people are tribalistic, just think of one woman, let's say Madam Shekirat in Ekiti, that was cooking on election day. And then his neighbor passed and was like, he can't tell the neighbor where they go. The neighbor say, I won't go vote. Can't say, ha, who they even vote for? They say na Jagaba, no. Do you understand? Or they say na Obio. Like this, like people people don't even know the differences of why you have like maybe the credibility of Jagaban, the achievements of Obi, why these people are different, or what Atiku did as a VP. What they just have this. There is this mindset. The person that they usually hear of, that thing plays a particular role. Who is popular? So Jagaban was popular in Southwest. You can't. He has been a regular team in Southwest. So it may not be all that about tribe for people that voted for him. It's just somebody that they can relate with, somebody they know. So then Obi wasn't that popular, and that's why I say that one of the reasons Obi they there was this game they didn't play the ground game well. Like they were more focused on online. See, you are reading Obi's achievements, you are seeing his videos. People, the people that a good percentage of people that are going to come out to vote, they're not going to see all those videos. You understand? If you look at the election in um, in US, what Trump did, the campaign people, what they did, they were like they did a ground operation which was like
To go.
they were door to door getting people to register, getting people registered on the day of election. They provided cars. Like there was this population that they call Amish voters. So those they usually don't come out to vote, but they made sure They told them you don't have to do anything, just bring car for like they made sure they were trying to bring in people that don't usually vote before. So their ground operation was very effective for them. And also if you look in 2015 election, APC carried out a very strong ground operation, knocking on doors. You understand? So these are some of the factors I think that affected the voting pattern anyway. I mean, I could be wrong in some of those analysis, but I don't think you can use one lens, to look at it. There are
to
just,
view it. Yeah,
yeah, there are so many things that happened, in that election. I mean, that's my own take anyway on it.
valid take,
If you
actually, very valid.
if you have any other thing you can add, or then we now move to conclude. And okay, no, we still have to
Oh,
discuss whether
okay.
people's vote count. I think.
It's like what do you call that thing? It's like there's what the literature they call it. When you tell yourself there's people do people vote count and then you just laugh because in your mind you know the answer.
It's a
But
rhetoric, a
but
rhetoric question or something.
it's a yeah, but then again, the thing about people's vote counting depends on where you are standing and and who you voted for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was listening to this man, this former road safety boss that later became a minister, um, Chidoka.
Chidoka,
Yes.
yeah, I remember him.
So yeah.
Gave him
So
Minister of
Chidoka does has this aviation one time. Yeah.
Aviation.
So
Yeah.
Chidoka now has this data analysis firm, I think. So he was speaking on Arise, on channels
Yeah.
regarding what his discoveries from off-cycle elections, Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi. And if you listen to his analysis, you would understand the nature of Nigerian politics, Nigerian election fully. You know, in his thoughts, in his own thought and his conclusions, he said
Yeah.
people voted, right? People
Yeah.
voted actually. But then again, there are areas where people do not vote. They don't take votes there. They don't take election materials there. In fact, they don't conduct elections there, but results come out. Like,
So INEC is voting for them now.
you
You don't
get,
need
they
to
don't
bother. We'll
conduct
help you
this
vote.
thing, they,
Yeah.
and you will help you vote because definitely there are places like them, what they call these places, where it's Bakassi. Over the years, Bakassi has always been, let me not use the word notorious, but Bakassi has always had these issues of people having to cross water to get to
Yeah.
polling unit. And it's always a challenge because INEC over the years has not thought of a way to allow logistic or make provisions for people to able to get to that place to, materials to get to those places. But yet we keep seeing results from those places. And so
Maybe
one of the
they jumped
things that
water
we
now.
now even well, Edo election, people said they saw results at the collation center, but when they transport results from collation center to and from polling unit to collation center, figures have changed. So they are
Yeah.
already prepared results,
Of course.
different from
Of
the
course.
one you saw in the polling units. So, but I feel like I said earlier, I feel like it's a game of numbers. If you can allow as much people access to voting, there is every chance that election rigging from INEC will reduce. Because trust me, I know the politicians in their parties have their own issues, but INEC is at the forefront of this rigging because they do not do anything. Tell me when you've ever seen INEC prosecute any offender. People snatch boxes.
Do,
Tell me one day you ever open news and say INEC
do you know
prosecute this
the
person for
do you know
snatching
the funny
boxes.
do you know the funny thing about the Nigerian the election is that when they declare a winner and then someone is taking that person, that winner, to court. INEC is joining that suit with the winner. So INEC is like saying, yes, this is our guy. So INEC that is supposed to be like an impartial party and be like, okay, whatever evidence you need me to. so so INEC and the person that was declared winner have a joint counsel. So it is I mean, if for me, what I would say is that because the truth is that you can't eat your cake and have it. So like what I think happens in the election is that if if there is somehow I still believe maybe that there is a low turnout in the votes. It wasn't as because if people vote, if people really cast their vote, like move it, that rigging is not that easy as people think. The reason I'm saying it's not that easy as people, no, it's not easy because the reason I'm saying it's not that easy is that they need, like, there are different interests. You understand? Like, for instance, now in, let's
Yeah.
say, Enugu, for example, the governor is trying. You can imagine where he was a governor. He lost the Senate seat. Do you
Hmm?
understand? You can imagine that.
Yeah.
So, and then, so, like, the current governor, almost like that he won, is just a very, very tiny and people are saying that he rigged himself in. When so many people don't want to accept him as the governor. So when you see that, when there is like a very intentional mass that want to come out and really like vote, it's not all that easy to change. I know that they do change it, but I think one of the things that happened is that if as this low turnout happened, then they were able to do whatever thing they want to do, because there are different interests. PDP is trying to protect their interest, APC is trying to protect their interest. If you go to a certain local government, there is still somebody that is very strong in that local government that is trying to protect their own interest. So it's not like, and during the election, Buhari just removed his hand. I was like, anything when I want to do, man, I do. You know, even if Buhari put hand, you can't influence everything that is going to happen in the whole 774 local governments in Nigeria. So I I mean, somehow I think sometimes the vote counts anyway.
But
But then,
it's influencing. Sorry, influencing the votes is not even difficult. It's not even difficult. Once you appoint your state rec,
yeah,
you know who to put there. You know who to put as returning officer. Only other thing is, as some people go say, every other thing is restful
but
because
if not so, why are like the winning party? Why do they have to lose in some areas? I mean,
and
I'm not.
because you can't win everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Everything
That's
is
what.
interest.
Yeah, his interest
And
now. His
it's not as
interest.
if these people, you know what they do? They do
Mm.
um they do settlements. Forget which winning party, which are they not all the same? They do settlement, they know what is happening. For example, now, see the case of that woman in Adamawa State. I don't know if you remember that woman's case that actually somebody, a boy, that APC candidate in Adamawa State that she was announced winner when she had not won.
The first female
Normally,
government I got
you
it.
you would think that because of she's part of the ruling party, they will make sure that she wins. What happened? The man
I
who's
think
there now is also part of the system.
the but the governor, was Infinitry, is affiliated
Fintiri.
is this Infinitry is his that is Article state. So PDP had the structures then,
Yes,
but they were trying to overthrow PDP anyway. I mean,
even with the structure,
yeah,
if it was a man that ran as APC candidate in that state,
yeah.
trust me, that man would have gotten that seat. So
Yeah, like I get what
the
you mean.
whole
There are
thing is
still people
about
that don't want a
you
woman to
get
be governor in that party as
it's
well.
so everything is just how it's supposed to be. The fact that
Yeah.
APC is allowing the see APC cannot win, for example, Anambra State now because definitely the people who would manage the elections are not federal people. That's what you should understand. So at the end of the day, they know the governors have a role to play,
You know,
especially especially the
one
ones that are
thing,
incumbents.
one thing I noticed in some of this, like Enugu, Ebonyi, Anambra, somehow there was not that much violence there, and like a good percentage of the people there wanted to vote for P2B. So it's not something
Yeah.
that Soludo will come and be like, do this, do that. But then I don't even, because when you now look, it depends on interest anyway. Because when you now look, you still
They will
see
only
that,
take out some numbers that they need. They know they cannot influence the whole vote. They will just take out some. See what Hope Uzodinma did in my state. He knew that APC cannot even get Imo State, but
yeah,
APC got about 30% of the
yeah,
votes in Imo State.
I
How is
saw
that
the,
possible?
I saw it, and that was the mistake they made in Rivers. If they wanted to make, but we just that they knew that they couldn't. It to be the Rivers was very important. How can Tinubu win Rivers? I mean, is like what are
From
you talking
nowhere.
about?
Not even
You understand? You
not even
understand?
a PDP based on PDP
Not
state
even
winning
PDP
Rivers.
is.
APC from
If you
nowhere
tell me Atiku won Rivers, I will say okay, no problem. This one
because of
is
the
bad
governor.
now. Yeah. So I mean, there are some things
So
that are this thing anyway. Yeah, but then and then moving on to, if you want to conclude, like one of the things, like one of the ideas I will put out there is that INEC, if they want to, if you want to have a free and fair election, they need to like disband INEC. Like INEC needs to be. One of the problems we have in Nigeria is that we claim we are a federal system, but we don't practice. Things need to go back to states, like to the local government, because why there is this rigging? Like you said, you made a point of saying the people will vote, then they will take. Imagine they vote in the ward, then they take that vote, they take the voting, they take it to local government.
collection center.
They collect, yeah. Then from there they go to the collection center in the state. Then from there they go to Abuja. I mean, there are so many there are so many avenues for people to interrupt that result.
So many stopovers.
Yeah, so many, it doesn't make sense. It needs to go back to the hands of the state so that like, and then the hands of the local government as well, because that's what's going on in the US. Each precinct, each county, like we do their own election, they announce it. That what the state does is to certify the result, but
Yeah.
it's not like they will take the ballot materials to, they just take that this is the result, like this is the result that we got, okay, so everybody in that locality already knows that this is the result, and then they take it to the state to, but it's already been announced, it has been announced. This thing is not like it's when the state now announces it that we'll know that the state, that the result, that this is the real result. And then the issue of, there's also, I was thinking of a way whereby if they want to vote, because they need to make it in such a way that if somebody wants to have a recount, you can have a recount and then see how people voted. So, like for instance, if you come out to vote, instead of you printing ballot paper already, when that time that you put your card to accredit you, that like the thing should print out a ballot paper. She print out a ballot paper, maybe that have like a barcode or something like that. So that means that that's the real ballot paper. And then you vote. There's no, even if you change, even if you now go and rewrite something, you understand? You, like, there is no way you will be able to change how the people voted. Like if you come to a ward and then you give them your card, so they read your card and then he prints out a ballot paper for you, so that what mean, it has a barcode. So which means that you can't. There is no ballot. For you to have a ballot paper, you must have been there. So nobody can just come and bring ballot paper and then be stamping it back, 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 back. Because what sometimes I know that the accreditation removes the overvoting, but at least with this way, you are sure that if you ask for a recount, they are going to, if they recount the result, it's sustainable. Do you get what I mean? It's not like that people voted and then you go to you just go to the place that they write the total number of votes and then you change it, because that's what they are doing. Do you get? So
You
they
think
wouldn't
more?
need.
Yeah. Sorry, to me, say I just feel like the manual process is what brings the rigging. Because trust me, if you eliminate the manual process of the election, it's seamless. This is simple. If you're in Jigawa, if you're in Katsina, if you're in Kebbi, if you're in the remotest part of Nigeria, and you use an ATM, a POS to pay money, I will get it in Abuja. It's simple. Once you go to a
Yeah,
polling
the
unit,
issue.
you accredit you.
Yeah,
It's simple. If we have what they call that machine, I can't remember the name again. The one used for
beavers,
accreditation. If
bimodal,
beavers,
the
if
beavers.
yeah, if I show you my card, you accredit me. You see that I'm a true voter. You take my card, you slot my card in the machine. It shows you. It brings out the candidates that are running for election, whether na 10, 20. Who are you voting for? You go there, it's like a machine. You click on the person you want, automatically it goes into the server and stays there. All these things that we keep recording, those are the instrument for rigging. That recording is the instrument for rigging.
The argument that I'm
There's no
making
point of us
against
having those
that,
things.
they are making an argument against that in the sense that if you go all online, that people can hack. You understand? And
But they can
trust
spend
me,
300 billion.
like but I mean, they do it in the US anyway. US uses both ballot paper and that they call it direct
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
registry or something. So they verify you, and then it comes up on the system, and then you thumbprint, and that's it. Or they print out the ballot paper, and then so they use those two systems anyway. But the thing is that if with those ballot paper, if they want to have a recount, they can have a recount. And then if you there's a way with blockchain anyway, you won't be able to, you won't be able to do this thing, to hack it. Like if there is people that are now practicing to use like blockchain to do voting anyway. So if they want to actually do that, and you know the funny thing, and this is where I keep telling people about Nigerian leaders, like they are not smart. The thing with them is that they are not smart, or maybe they are smart in what they are doing, no. But for instance, in 2015, if good luck wanted to implement like something that will be a free and fair election, he could do it. But then what they now look at is that if they do that, they will not benefit. Like they may not benefit from it now, like that time. You understand? That the only way for them to win
Mm-hmm.
is for them to rig, so that they will keep quiet. But they now forget that if you did it in 2015, 2019, 2023, PDP could have returned to power. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So what they
Mm-hmm.
just they are just only thinking about, do you know how much they
About
spend? These
now.
people, they will
Focus on
steal
now.
money. Yeah, they will steal money, spend they spend a lot of money to win election. The money that they stole.
Mhm.
If election is reaching now, you see many states asking for loan to show, like, it just doesn't make sense. And it doesn't, even if you have a free and fair election and people actually voting, and like voting you and then voting you out, the truth of the matter is that you like they can still do whatever mago thing they are doing there. I mean, right now, like a state governor, I don't even think they have that much like a strong law that will prevent a state governor from having a company and then using that. Cause there are so many state governors that have done it and then run projects. I know a state like someone like I know a state governor that did like Sullivan Chime in Enugu State. He did so much for the state, but there's no way you're going to tell me that he didn't take one or two. Do you understand? But he did a lot for the state. So they just, I don't know, the selfishness there is just so much. And now APC think they are the highest. At some point, the party is still going to disintegrate. And when that happens, maybe they will still lose the election. Another party will take over. They will not be able to come back again. Like the cycle it just continues. Like they just don't get it. They don't get it. So like I don't know anyway. The leaders are
Hopefully they will
just very
get it. But the first thing is that we need to. It starts with INEC. It needs we if INEC if we I would suggest that I will tell people that INEC should have a provision where every party, if you once you become a registered political party, you have somebody as one of the maybe non-executive officer in INEC. You're part of the round table conversation. So if APC is there, PDP is there, Labour Party is there, everybody sits on that same table. They will know how to struggle for whatever. If you're bringing in Ricky, you say no, Oga, I'm here too. So because now
look,
everybody is represented, everybody is fighting for their interest there. I don't even know, but we need
no,
to
it's still not good.
separate
The reason why it's
INEC
not going to work,
from the
the
executive
reason why it's
government.
not going to work is that they will like even when they were voting, even this last election, the Labour Party didn't have much money. So you see APC bribing Labour Party agents to keep quiet. So even when you have that, what you just did is a strong system. Like a strong system that it doesn't matter the person that is there. Whether APC is there, whether PDP is there, it doesn't matter. And for one of the ways you can do it, you need to decentralize. INEC shouldn't be the one announcing results. You understand? INEC, they shouldn't
Yeah,
get involved
yeah,
in. They should everything should just go to states. When you do that, it becomes very difficult. Like you don't have to go and bribe Mahmoud. If you bribe, there are so many things he can do to disenfranchise people. He can, and I think they did it. They even did it in 2015 and 2019. Like when people register to vote, there are certain areas that they may not uh, like give them that their voters card.
yeah, they are PVC.
They just
Yeah,
use the system to like frustrate you. They like you said, INEC doesn't get to some areas in Bayelsa. That is they are disenfranchising you. It their INEC can also decide like they delayed. You had over 300 billion budget and you're having logistics delay. There's no way you're going to tell me that that thing is not intentional. You understand? So there are so many things that they can do to like just by you bribing INEC. But if things are in the state, it will be very difficult for you, very, very difficult to rig election in all the 30 states of Nigeria. Very difficult. If you leave it in the hands of the states, there are so many before you no. It's very difficult. Not like it's going to be perfect, but at least that's one of the first step. What is happening? Everything is federal. Federal needs to be doing just little. They just need to focus on the economy and the security. Not yeah. That's how you. If you don't
Would
decentralize, you're
they
not
would
going
they
to.
would they agree to focus? Would they agree to focus on just see everything for them is a potential money, big money splash. So
Very
definitely, and like they say, the politics
yeah.
determines the economy situation of the country. So a lot of people understand that. Every politician knows that if I get it right with me or who I put there. So even the state that you think is doesn't matter. somebody has interest. Somebody will go and tell the president, I have interest in this state to do one or two things. The president will know what to do. You
Yeah.
see, before Edo election, we heard that Wike's cousin became the INEC there. Now tell me, it's a PDP state, though. Now tell me, Wike cousin was sent there to be the rec. Wike's wife is a
he's
high
a
court
judge.
judge.
He's a judge.
Wike
He
is
just
buying houses for judges in Abuja. So the plan is systemic. The idea is that it's like a mass emancipation
yeah.
of system. Grab
But
every Put all the system
that
together.
it's
But let me
because
tell you one thing.
yeah, it's because of the federal system. If it wasn't, if there was no need for the federal system in election, who are you? Who is Wike to come to your state? Are they who to appoint as the this thing?
But then, if
You
it is a state system you're talking about, people like Labour Party who had no governor, will not even see one vote then because
no no no
governors
no
will
no
take
no no
charge
no
of
no
the whole
no
process.
no. They still had no governor, and they won in landslide in the southeastern state, and they still had no governor there, and the governor still won Abia state. So that's why I say that it's not like when he favors you. I know rigging is there, but sometimes like it needs, like if this guy wasn't popular in the north, Buhari, he wouldn't have won the election. Do you understand? Like you still need to do some work. If you make a mistake in a candidate that your party is bringing out, you might still lose the election. So if you leave it to the state, you got even this thing that are saying like security, which we'll talk about all those ones later. But even this thing that are saying like security, if you leave it to the state, the federal government is utilizing the security against their political enemies. So they're already doing it at the moment. You understand? If you leave it to the states, it means that you are empowering some people. You need There's so many things that you can do. Like you make the attorney general, you separate it from the state governor. Anyway, let's not digress anyway. But
It's a lot of unbundling to do, yeah,
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
But
So, but anyway,
gradually, we'll,
yeah, we'll cover this in the next section anyway. Um,
yeah.
so I think we've come to the end, I guess. Or do you still have anything to add?
No, 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 no. We've been able
Okay.
to touch a lot of sections, yeah.
Yeah, we did. We did. So yeah. So if you like our videos, you should subscribe to our channel. You can follow us on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter as well. So this is the Three Guys Media, and then we'll see you next time. So take care, guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.